considered as the most valuable resource in a project. It is a terrible thing to waste while working on a project. Every deliverable is time-bound. Therefore, without proper time management, a project can lead towards disaster. Project time management involves the processes required to ensure the timely completion of a project. There are 7 main processes involved in project time management. 1. Planning schedule management. 2. Defining activities. 3. Sequencing activities. 4. Estimating activity resources. 5. Estimating activity durations. 6. Developing the schedule. And 7. Controlling the schedule. Each of these processes occur at least once in every project and project phase. This process determines the policies, procedures, and documentation used for planning, executing, and controlling the project schedule. It provides guidance and directions on how the project schedule should be managed throughout the project. To assist with the development, management, and control of the project, it is important to develop a schedule management plan. The schedule management plan is a component of the project management plan, which establishes criteria and activities for developing, monitoring, and controlling the project schedule. The schedule management plan is also the sole output from this process and includes the following: project schedule model development, scheduling methodology, level of accuracy and units of measure, control thresholds, rules of performance measurement, reporting formats, and process descriptions. This process includes identifying and documenting specific actions that are to be performed to produce project deliverables. It breaks down work packages into activities that provide the basis for estimating, scheduling, executing, monitoring, and controlling the project work. The main outputs of this process are an activity list, activity attributes, and a milestone list. The main goal of defining activities is to ensure that the project team completely understands all the work that must be completed as a part of the project scope so that the team can start scheduling the work. The activity list and attributes should be reviewed before moving on to the next step. If this is not done, it could produce an unrealistic schedule and lead to unacceptable results. This process reviews all activities in a work breakdown structure to identify relationships between the activities and classify all dependencies. Some project activity relationships are logically mandatory, while others may be logically discretionary. One example of a logical mandatory relationship could be that water must boil before coffee can be made, whereas an example of a discretionary relationship could be that a programmer may only be able to contribute half of his or her time to a project, although his or her skills could be used full-time to shorten the timeline of the project. Another type of relationship is called an external dependency. It involves relationships between project and non-project related activities. The main output from the sequencing activities process is the project schedule network diagram. It is a schematic that displays the logical relationships among project activities and their sequencing. This process focuses on estimating how many resources a team should use to perform project activities. The outputs for this process are activity resource requirements, resource breakdown structure, and project document updates. Activity resource requirements identify types and quantities of resources required for each activity. They also determine estimated resources for each work package by aggregating their requirements. The resource breakdown structure is a hierarchical structure that identifies the project's resources by category and type. This process involves estimating the number of work periods that are needed to complete individual activities. It uses information on the activity scope of work, required resource types, estimated resource quantities, resource calendars, and historical information. There are 2 main outputs from estimating activity durations: activity duration estimates and project document updates. Activity duration estimates are the main output from this process. The duration includes the actual amount of time worked on the activity plus the elapsed time. The effort is the number of work days or work hours required to complete a task and does not equate to duration. In this process, the project schedule is created by analyzing activity schedules and using activity resource and duration estimates. There are many tools used for developing the project schedule. The critical path method is a technique for process planning that defines critical and non-critical tasks with the goal of preventing time frame problems and process bottlenecks. It is ideal for projects consisting of numerous activities that interact in a complex manner. The critical chain method is a technique that focuses on limited resources when creating a project schedule and includes buffers to protect the project completion date. The Gantt chart shows activities displayed against time, as well as what the various activities are, when each activity begins and ends, how long each activity is scheduled to last, where activities overlap with other activities, and the start and end date of the whole project. This process helps the project capture the current schedule status, determine the variance from the schedule baseline, understand the nature of the variance and its causes, and take necessary appropriate actions. There are 4 main goals to controlling project goals. 1. Ensure that the project schedule is realistic. 2. Use discipline and leadership to emphasize the importance of following and meeting project schedules. 3. Have project managers handle personnel-related issues to keep projects on track. And 4. Use soft skills to help project managers control schedule changes. Many business leaders use some type of project management system for their company. Some examples of users are project managers, executives, and team members from all areas including companies, government, and nonprofit. There are many issues that can affect project time management. One issue is organizational culture. Cultural differences should be addressed to help develop a realistic project schedule, especially when virtual team members participate in a project from different locations, time zones, and geographies. Organizational readiness also impacts the project schedule. It is the organization's ability to accept and apply the final outputs of a project that is to be adopted by the workforce and utilized to create business value. This problem can be assessed by a change assessment that is conducted prior to project deployment. If the organization is not ready to embrace the change, then the deployment should be delayed until the organization becomes more prepared. Lastly, scheduling issues is the most common reason for conflicts on projects. It is important to have a thorough and well-planned schedule that is in agreement with all team members and reliance of resources. There are some significant historical dates for project time management. For example, in 1917, the Gantt chart was developed by Henry Gantt. In 1957, the critical path method was invented by the DuPont Corporation. In 1962, the U.S. Department of Defense mandated the work breakdown structure approach. In 1997, the critical chain project management was invented. In 1998, the project management body of knowledge guide became standard. In 2012, the 5th edition of project management body of knowledge guide was released. As projects become larger and more complex, so do the teams designated to them. Teams will not only exist in one location, but will come to expand globally. Project management itself will become increasingly difficult, as well as the management of time for projects. However, as mobile applications are becoming more popular every day, the terms of capabilities rise as well. User interfaces and management systems are evolving, moving towards a more integrated front, which will allow for project software to become easier to use. This will lead to a more effective use of time and greater productivity.